Which the schus of our learning, we should have the Beis English immediately. For Shlema, for everyone that needs. We're going to start the bottom line of Tesvavam and Beis. Tani Rav Tachlifa Achbad the Rav Na Chuzah. Rav Tachlifa, the brother of Rav Noi Chuzah, he taught the following. Very appropriate. Person's sustenance is already set from Rosh Hashanah. Vad Yom Kippurim. What does that mean, Vad Yom Kippurim? I guess it's decided somewhere in between over there. The Bach takes out Vad Yom Kippurim. Decided on Rosh Hashanah. Chutz, with the exception of Meitzah Shabbasos, Meitzah Yom Tov, Meitzah Shabbos, Meitzah Yom probably, Meitzah Banav Talmud Torah, and also tuition, which means like this, that the person needs to spend wisely during the year, because that's what he's getting. He's not getting more because he spent extra on something. But when it comes to Eitzah Shabbos and Eitzah Yom Tov in tuition, for that he's going to get more. If he spends extra, they'll replace it. If you get a cheaper food for Shabbos, so it'll be less what you get for the year. That's what we did yesterday. No, that's exactly where we're up to. Yeah, there was a taste of here, but that was now local aligned. This is yeah. Now it's continuous with onto the next page. So we just started. If he adds, he buys something extra. Yosef Maker Shabbos, he buys an extra expensive fish. Where's that money going to come from? So they add to what he was allotted on Rosh Hashanah. Amar Rabavo. Rabavo says, Mikra, where do you see this from? That a person's sustenance is set on Rosh Hashanah. It says, Tikka b'chay the shofar. Blow the shofar on Chaydesh. Probably means Rosh Chodesh, which means Rosh Hashanah. Bakesa l'yom chageinu. Bakesa over here means concealed. Now, the question is, what is concealed? To the day of his holiday. Now Rashi learns which holiday has the moon concealed, which means which holiday is on, because the moon waxes, wanes. So there's going to be one day when you can't see the moon, and that's going to be a holiday. Which holiday is on the 1st of the month, not on the 15th of the month? That's only Rosh Hashanah. Haviyam is Rosh Hashanah. Okay. Because the other holiday is on the 15th. Taisvus has difficulties with Rashi's pshat that it has to do with the moon. It says, Taisvus says, what are you talking about? Chodesh miskasabay. It's not Chodesh. It should say Levana miskasabay. So Taisvus says, Kesa doesn't mean concealed. Kesa means the designated time. Another pshat that the korban of Rosh Chodesh wasn't brought. They have problems with that because the korban was brought. He responded. Rabbeinu Meshulam responded. That's the one that says this. He says, "Oh, I never meant that it wasn't brought. I just meant that it wasn't mentioned clearly." A bunch of pshatim over here. What does it mean? Chodesh miskasim? Okay. You don't mention it specifically. Musaf, you just say Milvad de la Safed. Uksiv. Okay, so far we didn't get to the point yet. And it's written, Ki Chokli Yisrael Mishpat Lilekei. There's the pasuk continues, Tikka b'chay the Shofar b'kesleim chagenu Ki Chokli Yisrael. And Ki Chokli Yisrael means that it's a statute for Israel. It's a law for the God of Yaakov. Now, my mashma, the high chayk listener the Mezaynihu, the way the Gemara is learning it, is that Chokli Yisrael means that it's the sustenance for the Jewish people, and the word chayk means sustenance. Where do you get that from? Oh, we have a pasuk. This is after everyone sold all their property and their basically themselves to Yosef and to Parai because of the famine. So the only thing that they got to eat was whatever Parai allotted for them, because they became slaves. They had to sell everything in order to get food. So then they ate whatever Parai gave them. So the pasuk says v'achlas chukam. Chukam means their allotted portions. Okay, so we have a pasuk that chayk means sustenance. So ki chayk li Yisrael, that's all decided on Rosh Hashanah, the sustenance. Marzutra Mamrihacha. Marzutra quotes a pasuk in Mishlei Hatrifeni lechem chukai. Let's provide me with my daily bread, lechem chukai, allotted portions. So you see, chukai means food. Tanya, started in a brisa. Amru alav al Shammai azakin. They said regarding Shammai, Kol Yom Havayach L'Kavod Shabbos. It's the whole week, all his days, he only ate L'Kavod Shabbos. How did he do that? It says Matzah Behemana. He found a nice animal in the marketplace. Aimer Zula Shabbos. He says, okay, this is going to be for Shabbos. Matzah Cheres Naimena. Then he went. That was on Sunday. On Monday, he was again walking by. He sees another animal. So he says, so he would go eat the first one and he would designate the second one that was nicer for Shabbos. So why was he eating the first one? Because he wanted the second one to be for Shabbos. So all his days he ate L'Kavod Shabbos. I don't know what the pshat is, L'Shem Shemayim. Everything he did was for the sake of heaven. Shenemar Baruch Hashem Yom Yom, which basically means that he said, I'll get for what I need for Shabbos on Friday. Hashem will provide me. I don't have to worry the whole week. This for Shabbos. This is for today. Every day he would get what he needs. That's the pshat Shekol Ma'asav L'Shem Shemayim. And I understand what it means. I just don't know. It's a funny expression to say this point. What it means is that he had betachah. Shabbos. Right. Right. Okay. Shenema Baruch Hashem Yemim. Tanya Nami Hachi was also taught in the Brisa the following: B'Sham Yomer Mechad Shabach l'Shabbatach. From the first of the week, you should already designate for Shabbos. Basil Amr Baruch Hashem Yemim. Basil says no. Every day Hashem will provide. Okay, there were these rebbes that never kept money overnight in the house. There would there's money in the house. They have to run out and find a poor person. Hashem will provide me tomorrow. Yeah, that's extreme. But the idea is clear that otherwise you start worrying about retirement. It's endless what you could worry about. Okay, but somewhere in the middle is a balance. Amar Rab Chama bar Rabbi Chanina, the second generation of Meir in Eretz Yisrael. Rabbi Chanina bar Chama was the first generation. So this is Rab Chama bar Rabbi Chanina, his son. If you give your friend a gift, you don't have to tell him that you gave him the gift. It says that Moshe did not know that there was a shine coming from his face.
What's wrong with that?
Let me see. We'll see. Yes, he's asking what's wrong if you don't tell him. Meisvei, the Gemara is a question. But basically, Moshe Layad, that means the Eibishter gave Moshe a gift that his face was shining. But he didn't tell them. Meisvei, there's a question. Ladaski and Yashem Mikadishchem, to know that I am Hashem, your God, that sanctified you. Amalei HaKadosh Baruch Hu Moshe. Hashem tells to Moshe, I have a great treasure. I have a great gift in my storage house. B'Shabbos Shema. It's called Shabbos. Yisrael. I'm going to go give it to the Jewish people. Go tell them that they're about to get a big gift. From here, Reb Shimon ben Gamliel says, that if you give bread to a child, you should let the mother know that you gave to the that you fed the child. How do you do that? We're going to see in a minute. But like kasha, so basically we have a contradiction between the Eibishter doesn't tell Moshe that he gave him a gift, but the Eibishter tells Moshe that tell the Jewish people that they're getting a gift of Shabbos. And from this we learn that if you give a gift to a child, a candy or bread or something, you have to let them the parents know. Umar says, difference is by Moshe, everyone was going to see it. So the Eibishter didn't tell him because it's going to be so obvious. We're not talking about Moshe's going to look in the mirror, but everyone that's going to see him is going to say, hey, look, Moshe, your face is... So, but by Shabbos, people wouldn't know that they're getting this big gift. The Gemara says, 1 second. Shabbos nami matana David ligmai. What? They're not going to know about Shabbos? They're going to get Shabbos. It's going to be a gift. They're going to keep Shabbos. That's going to be the special gift. So what are you saying that they're not going to know unless the Eibishter tells them or Moshe tells them? The Gemara says, matan schara le'avid ligmai. The reward for Shabbos is the big gift. That they won't know. People don't realize what they're getting, such a special reward, so you have to tell them that you're going to get a special reward. Amar Mar, the master taught. Mikan Amar Reb Shimon ben Gamliel. Shimon ben Gamliel learned from that the Eibishter told Moshe to tell the Yidden about Shabbos that that if you give a child bread, you have to let the mother know that you just fed the child. What should you do to let the mother know? You put a note around his neck. So it says, you put oil in his hair and you put paint around his eyes. So he comes home. It's like, who dressed you up like this? Where did you get that ponytail or something? So who made your hair so nice? Who decorated your face? Today you don't have to do this because when they give the child a lollipop, he comes home and his tongue is blue. A red or whatever color it is. So yeah. Now there's a problem. Nowadays, people could think it's witchcraft if you did the paint on the eyes or something. Maybe you did something to the child. So what should you do? You smear him with whatever you gave him. So if it was a cookie that had butter, you put some butter on his cheek or something. And then when he gets home, the mother's going to say, oh, where did you get that? Why is there butter? So, I had a cookie and had some bread. Okay. Amar Rabbi Yochanan Mishum Reb Shimon ben Yochai. Rabbi Yochanan says in the name of Reb Shimon ben Yochai, Kol mitzvah sh'nasalam HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yisrael nasalam b'parhesya. Eibishter gave us all the mitzvahs in public. Chutz mi Shabbos sh'nasalam b'tzina. Besides for Shabbos that no one knows about. Shenemar ben Yevein b'nei Yisrael eisi li'olam. It's between me and the Jewish people. It's signed forever. Very interesting. The Gemara has a question on this. It says, Yihachi lo l'enshin nachar mala. The Gemara tells us that it says that the Eibishter went around to offer the Torah to everyone and they didn't want it. So because of that, they get punished that they rejected the Torah. We offered it to you, you didn't accept it. So the problem is that Shabbos apparently wasn't offered because it was secret. So why would they be punished because of not accepting Shabbos? So Shabbos they do adino matan schara le'adino. The truth is that Shabbos was also offered, and the only thing is they just didn't let them know what the reward was going to be. We by Yisema. That's interesting. Yeah. The reward, they also let them know. Neshama Yisera, but they didn't know about the Neshama Yisera. Yeah, Rashi says, what's the Neshama Yisera? that you have a broad heart to relax and to rejoice. And you can eat and be happy, eat and drink, and you don't get disgusted. You can eat extra. That's in Neshama Yisera. You can eat more than usual. Yeah. And it's not referring over here, at least it's not referring to the nuptial kiss. It's referring to that the person can eat extra. Yeah. Okay, the Amar Reb Shimon ben Lakish. Reb Shimon ben Lakish says, Neshama Yisera Neisin HaKadosh Baruch Hu Ba'adam B'Erev Shabbos. The Eibishter gives the person a Neshama Yisera on Erev Shabbos, and Mitzvah Shabbos Neitin Leisamena. He takes it away on Mitzvah Shabbos. Nemar Shabbos Vayinafash. He rested and rested. Kivan Shabbos, once he rested, after he rested, the word Vayinafash is divided into two words. Vay of the nefesh. Vay is the English word woe, like woe. The double V. You call it the W. I think originally it was a double V. So woe that we lost the extra neshama. Okay. Now we're holding in the middle of Tezayin a new people. Says, Isa Adam Tavshil Me'erev Yamtiv. Person can make an Erev Tavshilin. Makes an Erev Tavshilin, and that means that from Erev Yamtiv, let's say Yamtiv is Friday, and he wants to cook for Shabbos, so he starts cooking on Thursday. He designates a certain food. He designates food for Shabbos, and then he can continue cooking on Friday. So Amar Abaya says, it has to be a cooked food. Abu paslai, but it can't be bread. We use both, I think. No, we take a cooked dish and bread. Abaya says it has to be cooked, it can't be bread. Maishna pastalai, why not? Why can't you use bread? You started preparing for Shabbos. What's the problem? Maybe you need something that's malafis means that it's like a dip. It's eaten along with bread. You know, anything that you would put into a wrap, which is basically everything. That's for soup. But anything that you would put, a shawarma type thing, like a lafa. You could put all the salads and everything and the meats and everything could go in that. It's malafis. It goes along with the bread. Maybe you need something to malafis. Upasle malafta, you never put bread in the bread. That type doesn't go in the wrap. The Gemara says, 1 second. But when it comes to porridge, nami delay malafta, you don't put porridge in bread. Damar Reb Zera, because Reb Zera commented, Reb Zera came from Babel, he went to Eretz Yisrael, but he had comments that were like maybe derogatory about the Babylonians. He said, Hani Babloi Tifshai, those foolish Babylonians. Dachli Nama Benama, they eat bread with bread. Apparently they would eat porridge which is made from wheat, together with the bread. Yeah, it's like and it's brought in Masech the Brachas about where was this Gemara? Yeah, we have it quoted on the side from the Dharam. I think we had it in Brachas. Yeah, there were some other things. And okay, so far we don't have a problem, but we didn't get to the problem yet. But this is sort of like they give pizza with the French fries on the top, So here's our problem. We have a statement from Abaya, from Nechumi bar Zechariah, that says you can make an Erev Tavshilin with porridge. Now, if you tell me that it needs to be something that's malafis, that you eat together with bread, so porridge you don't eat together with bread. And now we're saying that you can use porridge for an Erev Tavshilin. So obviously that's not the factor. We're looking for something that's going to be special for Yom Tov, for Shabbos, a special food. But bread you have every day. So it's not recognizable if you make bread that's really a Shabbos food. Apparently, they didn't make Shabbos challah, because or else it would be obvious that you braid it and you put the egg on the top. Apparently, they just took bread.
They don't have cooked bread every day?
Not necessarily. They ate it. They ate together with something. That bread with something. Beitza Daf. Finished. Beitza, apparently, porridge was also not so common. So that would have been a special dish that they would have had. Okay. Ikadamri, there are those that say this differently. I'm going to switch what's going to happen with Beitza, with porridge. Amar Abaya leishanu al tavshil aval paslai. Okay. Abaya says you can't use bread. It has to be a cooked dish for the Erev Tavshilin. My timer. What's the reason? Maybe because you need something that's not so common, something that's unique. So bread is not unique. Bread you have every day. Problem is, but porridge is not so common. You can't use porridge. The opposite of it. This Ikadamri switches the halacha regarding Beitza. You can't use porridge. It must be, and even though it's not so common, it must be that's not the factor. Elamidi de malafis, and it must be that you need something that's eaten with bread, and you don't eat bread with bread. And you also don't eat porridge with bread. That's why you can't use it. Where do we see that? Those foolish Babylonians, that they eat their bread with other bread, referring to a wheat spread. Oh, what's Marmite? What's it made out of? You know that British. It's made out of something soured, something. Okay. That'd be funny. Okay, Tani Rabchia. Rabchia Torah Doshim Shebishuli Kedera Semech Aleim Misham Meruvi Tavshilin. Whether it is or it's not. Okay. The beans at the bottom of the pot, the lentils, that could be an Erev Tavshilin. Ranimil Disbu Kazayas, as long as there's a Kazayas there. Okay. Talking about that you didn't cook it specifically for Shabbos. You cooked it probably for Yom Tov. But when you emptied the pot into the serving dish, you saw some on the bottom. You say, you know what, that's going to be for Shabbos. That's good enough. You don't have to actually cook the whole thing for Shabbos. What's left over could also be, you go in, today, how do we make an Erev Tavshilin? It's Erev Yom Tov. You look in the fridge for something that's there. Roll the gefilte fish or something, and you put it together with the challah, and you say the bracha. You didn't make that for Shabbat, but you didn't know what you made for Shabbat. Okay. Amar Rab Yitzchak Breder Rab Yehuda. Rab Yitzchak, the son of Rab Yehuda, says, Shamnuna shal gabi asakin. Goyroi v'semechla mishamaru v'tavshilin. You could take the fat off a knife. Probably was a large knife, and it was thick fat that was stuck to it. And that could be your Erev Tavshilin. They would eat the fat. They would eat it with the bread. This book kazayas, as long as there's a kazayas of fat on the knife. Amar Abasi, what's a kazayas? An ounce. It's not such a big deal. You scrape it up. You fill up a l'chaim cup inside an ounce. Amar Abasi, Amar Rav, Dagim Ketanim Maluchim Ein Ben Mishum Bishuli Nachem. Small little fish, probably like herring, they're smaller, sardines, salted. They don't have a problem of bishalaka. Why? Because they're eaten raw. Anything there's two halachas of bishalaka. It needs to be put on a king's table. which means something that could be served on the main dish at a wedding or something at a nice meal. That would be. I mean, you can serve anything, but something that would be natural, normal to serve. A piece of meat, something. And it has to be eaten cooked, not raw. Anything that's eaten raw doesn't have the halachas of bishalach. So here we have this small fish that's eaten raw. Now it's not mamish eaten raw; it's eaten salted, pickled. But that's good enough. Amar Rav Yosef adds in. If the guy cooks them, then you can use it, or roasts them, you can use them for an Erev Tabshilin. Then it's asra. If he turns it into kasa daharsana, which is a fish innards together with flour, very cheap dish. This would be like comparable to sardines, but it's sardines with flour. It was mixed together. So then you have a problem. Why? Because flour can't be eaten raw. Flour has to be cooked. So now this kasa daharsana needs to be eaten cooked. So now this creates a problem of bishalakum, which is a chiddush, which means ingredients of a dish have a din of bishalakum. Gemara says pshita, of course you can't eat it raw. It says well, mal detema harsana ikar. The fish brine, the fish innards that could be eaten raw with salt, I guess. Kamash malan kimcha ikar comes to tell me that that's not the main part of this dish. The main part of the dish is the flour. This is also a big chiddush. Which ingredients create the problem of bishalakum is the main ingredient, not the secondary ingredient. Yeah.
But didn't you say this is a very cheap dish?
Yeah.
Wouldn't this be not something you would serve to kings?
Oh. Yeah. I don't know the pshat. Yeah, maybe because the flour. Maybe this tells me that the flour is the main thing. Maybe kasada. I remember a Gemara that said, "Filu kasada harsana." Like he didn't have any. He didn't even have kas. It was like the cheapest dish. Maybe the flour. Maybe the ingredient of the flour, which would tell me that there's a problem of the way that it's prepared. That you don't look at the way it's prepared. You look at the item. Flour is Eilal Shulchan Malachim, even though not like this, but maybe in other forms. I see this stuff going on here in Taisvis. Yeah, I have to go through it. I don't know. Pas is much more lenient than bishalakum. Bread, you have pas palter, pas. Not even pas nachri is also has heterim. Bishalakum doesn't really have heterim. Yeah, it's much more common. There are people that they go to the store, they buy just bread in Publix as it's not pas Yisrael, but it's pas palter, and whatever it has a hefshan. People do that, not amongst Hasidim, but amongst the Orthodox. And there's heterim, there's valid heterim. So yeah, so that's a question. We have to look into this. Or maybe let's just say that even though it's cheap, but it still is Eilal Shulchan Malachim. That's an easy answer. Yeah, you see Rabbeinu Hanano. The whole thing is I lost Malach. Yeah, I remember I said this before. Brown University made a dinner. They had a yearly dinner, and they served Captain Crunch cereal. And they said, based on a survey that they did in the university, that they asked people what food they like most, and they said Captain Crunch. So that's what they served. It made it to the headlines of the Providence paper. So yeah, academics. I think everything is statistics. Okay. Amar Baba. Yeah, there's an interesting thing. Rabbi Herschel Schechter went to, I think he went to visit the Chazon Ish. I think he said it was himself. He went to visit the Chazon Ish. He was asking him, sardines need to be Bishul Yisrael. No, it wasn't him. He was talking about someone else. Someone went to visit the Chazon Ish. The sardines need to be Bishul Yisrael. The Chazon Ish said, yeah. So he said, why? It's not, no one would ever serve that. So the Chazon Ish took out sardines and it said, by appointment to the Queen. You know, all the foods in England, they have, it says by appointment to the Queen. But by appointment to the Queen, it's on everything. It's on, doesn't mean that it's served at and candies, it says, or cigarettes, it's by appointment. Okay. Amar Abba. Eruve Tavshil and Tzrichin Kazayas. Erev Tavshil needs to be a Kazayas. Okay, nice. We learned that before. Ibaylo. The only thing is, we have a question. Kazayas echad l'kulan, I don't know kazayas halachad v'echad. Is it one kazayas, or is it a bunch of, or is it a kazayas per person that's going to be relying on them? That's a good question. So Tashma, Amar Rabab, Amar Rav. Now we have Rabab in the name of Rav. Irubi tavshil tzrich kazayas bein lecha bein lameya. That's much clearer. You only need one kazayas. Whether it's for one person or for 100 people, one kazayas is good enough. Tanan, it's taught in our Mishnah, Achlu Shavad, Layavashal Alav, B'tchila. Shir Menakol Shusayim Echalav L'Shabbos. Was it our Mishnah? Yeah. That's the end of the Mishnah. If there's a little bit left over, then you can rely on it. But if it's totally lost, then you can't. So my kolsha, what does it mean a little bit? Kolsha means a small amount. Lav afagav like a kazayas. Even if there's not a kazayas, if kolsha is less than a kazayas, it's a small amount. When it says like this book kazayas, kolsha doesn't give you really a size. It just says like any amount. What do you mean any amount? Like a drop? It says no. Any amount means a kazayas enough. Toshima. So come and listen. Tapshil, when it says that it needs to be a tapshil zetzli, that means that it's roasted. Vafilu kavash, but this could also be if it's pickled, shaluk, umavushal. Interesting kavash. You could use kavash. That's the case. Then why do you have to say before by the Kasa de Harsana, by the Dagim Ketanim, the Im Salon Nachni? Why do you have to say that? Okay. Shalak is overboiled, like Mavashal is cooked. Kulas aspanim shaslav chamin me'ar v'yamtiv. Kulas aspanim is a Spanish mackerel. It's made by, you prepare it by salting it, and then you wash it off with hot water. And you're washing the salt off, that like finishes the cooking. That's the example of Kali Abishal. In Hilchos Shabbos, it says that a klisheni is not Mavashal. The Gemara gives an example with the exception to them. There's kulas aspanim, which is just warm water, hot water, washing off the salt, that finishes the cooking of it. Over there, klisheni is mavash. So, but if you add this hot water to this, from before Yom Tov, then that's gonna work. When you make it and when it's finished on Yom Tov, when you're ready to start cooking for Shabbos, there's no measurement to how much there needs to be there. My lav ein leishir klal means even less than a kazayas. The Gemara says like ein leishir l'mayla. There's no shear up. How much? There's no maximum shear. But there is a minimum shear. Amar Avun Amar Rav. Abuna says in the name of Rav, you have to have intention for the Erev Tavshilin. I sound better on the thing. You need intention. The Gemara says Pshita, that's obvious. Well, it's not so simple because what it meant over here, das miniach beina, das mi sheinichu loy beina no loy beina. Does everyone that it's being made for also need to know about it? The one that's making the Erev Tavshilin clearly has to know what he's doing. But the people that are being yoitzer, that they need to know. So Tashima, come and listen to Abu the Shmuel Ma'arav Akula Nardoi. Shmuel's father, he made an Erev for the whole Nardoi. The whole city. Did everyone know that he was making it for them? Not necessarily. Rabami Barabasi Ma'arav Akula Tveria. They were Rabbanim in Tveria. They made an Erev for the whole Tveria. So that's a raya that the people that are being yoitzer, they don't need to know at the time of the Erev. Machras Rav Yaakov Baridi. Yaakov Baridi announced, you can be yoitzer with mine. Vad kama. Well, how far does that go? Does that go across the globe? It goes until Tchum Shabbos. After the Tchum Shabbos, Rashi says that he obviously did not have intention for anyone that's so far out. Yeah, you can be yoitzer with the Rav. Yeah, we're going to see, though. It's not so simple. There's a detail there. Yeah. Yeah, we're talking about who did this rabbi have in mind when he made the Erev Tavshilin for his whole city or for anyone that needs it. He wasn't talking about people in England. He was talking about people within his home. So, yeah, not that they could walk. Yeah. 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 Our Erev Tavshilin is sort of like the rabbi's Erev Tavshilin. Adarim Be'era says. Yeah. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be like that. I mean, that's what we're doing. When you read it, it sounds like every person is the rabbi making it for his city. There was a blind person that he knew Mishnayos by heart. Yeah. So he would recite Mishnayos or Brises in front of Mar Shmuel. Yeah. Yeah, I think it says that. Yeah, that's very interesting. Did it say that Rav Sheshes knew a lot of? So what Rav Chizda, I think, was afraid of the Brises of Rav Sheshes. Is that how it worked? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so he's reciting. This is a fellow that recites Mishnayos in front of Mar Shmuel. He recites them by heart. Chazi Dabi Yes, Mar Shmuel sees that he's depressed. He said, what's bothering you? I forgot to make the Erev Tavshilin. Amalei, he says, Smaich Adidi, rely on mine, you're fine. I made Erev Tavshilin. I had everyone in mind. Like probably, yeah. Rashi says, Smaich Adidi, because he made an Erev Tavshilin for the whole Nardoi. Yeah. We said Abu the Shmuel made it for the whole Nardoi. This is Mar Shmuel. Sounds like Mar Shmuel lived in Nardoi as well. No, we said yesterday, a few days ago, that Mar Shmuel is not Shmuel. So I don't know where Mar Shmuel lives, but apparently either Rashi's gear says that it's Shmuel, or Rashi's telling me that Mar Shmuel also lived in Nardoi. So Lashana, the following year, Chazid Aviyatzer, he sees that he's depressed again. Amalei Amayat Sivas, why are you sad? Amalei Delayasiv Erev Tavshilin, I forgot to make an Erev Tavshilin. Amalei Poishayat, you're negligent. L'kuli al Mashar L'dida Chaser. Yeah, you can't rely on the Rav twice. can only rely on him once. When does it start? Does it ever reset? That's a question. Because there's a lot of it, but it doesn't. This is a year later.
No, that's why it could reset.
So in 2 years it would be fine.
No, a year later, it should reset.
Okay.
I mean, we started learning today with every new year, the money.
I know, but it doesn't. It doesn't reset because he comes back a year later and he's sad. Basically, you can only forget once if you want to rely on the road.
Because the road, it's still sending so much.
Right, but the problem is that a Pesheya can't rely on the road. Someone that's negligent. So he's calling him a Pesheya because he forgot twice.
That's why it's
The Rav only had in mind people that were, they missed it.
First time.
Right. Rabbanan. Start in a brisa. I may have to make a call with my son. Oh, 1 second. My son's trying to get a number from the aisle to the airport. He's going to call me around that. Okay. Tan Rabbanan Yom Tov Shchali is Erev Shabbos. Yom Tov is on Erev Shabbos. That's what we're talking about the whole time here. Ein ma'ar ben lo yerubi tchumen v'lo yerubi chatzeres. You can't make, the concern now is you want to be able to walk on Shabbos to a certain amount, and you make an Erev Tchumen on Erev Shabbos, and you make an Erev Chatzeres, that's the carry in the courtyard, you make that on Erev Shabbos. Well, it's Erev Shabbos. Now, it turns out it's Yom Tov also. Tanakama holds, you can't do those things. Now, Eruv Tchumen, it's clear because you can't, you have the halachas of Erev Tchumen on Yom Tov as well. You can't walk. Just because Yom Tov, you can't walk out of the Tchum. But Eruv Chatzeres, you're allowed to carry on Yom Tov. So this is a strict opinion. And the reason is because you can't do any tikkun. You can't be masak in anything. So this is considered a tikkun. Rabbi Yomer ma'arben Eruv Chatzeres, aval lo Eruv Tchumen. Rabbi says no. Eruv Chatzeres is no problem because you're allowed to carry today. So today that you're allowed to carry, that allows you to fix the carrying for tomorrow by making an Erev Chatzeres. What's Erev Chatzeres? It's a bunch of people that live in a courtyard or in a complex, and everyone contributes food, and then they can carry in the hallways. Yeah, before Yom Tov they could do it a year before. They do it every Pesach usually. So Rabbi says you're allowed to do that because on Yom Tov you can carry anyway. You can forbid him from doing something that's forbidden for him, which is tchumen, but you can't forbid him from doing something that's permissible for him, which is a carrying. So, which means he can do carrying on. He could prepare to carry on Shabbos in a correct manner, because on Yom Tov he doesn't need that. He can carry anyway. Itma Rava Malacha Ketanakama, Shmuel Malacha Kerebi. So Machlekes Rav and Shmuel. Rav says the halacha is like the Tanakama, which was strict. You can't make an Erev Chatzeres on Yom Tov. Remember the story with the Rebbe's father, Smicha. He went to Reb Chaim, get Smicha, Reb Chaim Soloveitchik. And right then, someone came in with the Shaila. Sukkos. The person said that he forgot to make an Erev Chatzeres for the Sukkah. There's a bunch of people who are going to eat in the same Sukkah, but they didn't make an Erev Chatzeres. So Reb Chaim turned to Reb Leivik. He says, no, let's see. What's he going to pass them? So they said the Sukkah itself is Ma'arev, because they're all eating in one location. So I don't know if that was the whole test. But anyway, over there, was it Yom Tov? Apparently, you can't make an Erev Chatzeres on Yom Tov. If it was only Yom Tov, you can't make an Erev Chatzeres on Yom Tov like Rab. Ibayalu, the Gemara has a question. Halacha Kerebi, when Shmuel says Halacha Kerebi, is it L'kula or L'chumra? Is it lenient or not? Well, Rebbe was lenient. What's the Shaila? Gemara says Pshita de L'kula Kama. Says no, it's not so simple. Mishum de Shalach Rebbe Lazar L'Gaila, because Rebbe Lazar sent to the exile Rabbi Elazar ben Kudas. He says, "Leikashatim sheinim bebavel Rabbi Mati v'cham ma'asim." Don't learn it the way you learn that brisa in Babylonia. Rabbi Elazar came from Babylonia, actually. That Rebbe is mater and the chachamim are oiser. El Rebbe Yosef v'cham matirim. The opinions are switched. You got it wrong. Rebbe was really the machmer one. Okay, so now we have a question. When Shmuel says the halacha was like Rebbe, was he saying the way they say it in Bavel or the way they say it in Eretz Yisrael? It's a mai. It's a tashma. Shmuel lived in Bavel. Yeah, so there's your answer. The Rav Tachlifa bar Abdimi, Avad of the Kavasei de Shmuel. Just 1 second. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. Yeah, hello? Yeah, you want to Uber? Okay, I'll do it now. Give me a second. Yeah.
But you're allowed to put in the tip to the trip. I noticed. So I put it in the tip.
You can do it.
Yeah, that's sometimes. If you get to do that. Yeah, but I like this the other day when I went to the baby. Yep. So I put the tip to the right, so I took this.
His algorithm. When I ran with like $60 and I got $4 same. Yeah, sorry, Joe.
Probably just need rush hours. It's something.
Can you avoid it? That's the same thing. Okay. Okay. Landel, you there? Hello? Yeah. So hold on 1 second. I'll tell you when it's coming. All right. Yeah. Hold on. Stay on the line. Okay. Abed of the Kavasei de Shmuel. Rav Tachlifa bar Avdimi, Paskin like Shmuel. Amar Rav Tchila Seira the Haitzuvim Mirabanan Lekukula. Rav commented that this Rav Tachlifa bar Avdimi already messed up his psak. Okay, it looks like a gray Honda. The guy's name is Joseph. Coming in 3 minutes in front of that. Right. Hello? Mendel, you there? Okay. Yeah, you're outside. Name is Joseph, and it's a Honda Insight. I don't know what that is. Okay. Bye. So Rav says he already messed up his psak. He passed like Shmuel. Okay, now we weren't sure if Shmuel was machmer, that you can't make an eruv chatzeres, or if Shmuel was lenient that you can't. He passed like Rebbe. It seemed like Rebbe was lenient, but Rabbi Elazar says that that may not be the pshat. So if Rav says that he was being the problem was that he was lenient. You were matter something that's really not acceptable. So Haino Kalkula, that's a big mistake. Aliyamat Lachumra, Michael Kulika. But if he was just extra machmer, that's a mistake. You tell them not to do it. That's not a big mistake. You tell him not to. It says no, keeping the Makalkula Rabim, Haino Kalkula. Problem is that there's people that are involved here that are going to end up carrying. If he makes an Erev, then it's acceptable. If he makes an Erev that's acceptable, then fine. But because the Erev is not acceptable, and because he tells him not to make the Erev, what's going to happen? Let's say he told him you can't make an Erev. He was machmer. He paskined like Shmuel, and Shmuel is machmer, but that's still a problem because now that there's no Erev, people are going to carry without it. Something like that. Amar Rava, Amar Rav Chisda, Amar Rav Huna, Halacha Kerebi Elisa. Rava says, the name of Rav Chisda, name of Rav Huna, the halacha is like Rebbe, and it's prohibited to make an Erev Chatzeres on Yom Tov. Tan Rabbanan. Yom Tov Shchalis b'Shabbos. Yom Tov falls on Shabbos. B'Shama Yomer Mispal Shmeina. You know what? Maybe we should leave it over here by the Tan Rabbanan. It's a new sugya. Takes us down to the bottom. It's today's daf, but we'll finish on. We'll learn on Sunday. We're stepping on the top of Yud Zayin. Okay.
I found it interesting that in modern Sifrei Halacha that discuss Bishalakum, the rationale that's almost invariably given is to prevent socialization and intermarriage.
Right.
And I didn't see any indication of that in here.
Oh. Well, Bishalakim is a gzeir.
It's rabbinic.
That's yeah. But the rationalization for it is the origin of the gzeira. But now it applies whatever. Are you asking about if it's still relevant today?
Well, I know it's still relevant, but every time never occurs to me if I go into Publix and buy potato chips that I would be contributing to intermarriage, but that's the way we live.
Give me 1 second. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello? Yeah.